wanted to talk to you about being an employer of choice. Research has come out recently from Marsh showing that the cost of having high turnover in your business is really to the amount of 50 to 150% of a full-time salary of that person. Now, if you're a large organisation, you can't afford that if you've got high attrition rates, and if you're a small organisation, you've got even less, space in your budget to have that kind of cost in your business. So what does that actually mean? So let's just say you've got a team of 5 salespeople. They're highly productive, or most of them are highly productive. They've got great engagement with your customers. They know your business inside and out. They've got beautiful relationships with your customers. And let's just say you had some high turnover. You might go, yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. I've got some of that skill set leaving the business and I've got to now bring in some new team. However, the real cost to your business is how much loss in revenue will occur whilst you're upskilling that new person or new people if it's more than one. The vulnerability with your client base or your customer, if that customer was really attached to that previous employer, that this new person has to build up that relationship, go in slow, have the customer have trust with them, build rapport, all of those key things we know which are important in sales. Now, this will really start to make an impact if you've got high attrition rates because all of a sudden you've got vulnerability in your sales team. Now, what's the fastest way to become employer of choice? Is it having fancy beanbags and sleeping rooms like Google? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would help. I know in some of the clients I work with, they have some beautiful, timeout rooms. But digging a little deeper, when you actually ask, how engaged are your people with your business, it comes down to, most people think it's money, but look, money is just a vehicle. I definitely know some of the salespeople who are on commission, it's that real buzz of being successful with their commissions. However, they still love to be in a great environment that supports them. And the key thing that I always hear is training and coaching. They want to feel connected to the business. Is the business going to invest in me? And it's an easy win. To me, it's such an easy win. Train your team managers on how to coach. It doesn't need to be some big, long, convoluted training process, which is 12 months long. It could be so simple if you're a contact center of double jacking, plugging in your headset into the to the telephone system and listening to some live calls. Give a feedback sandwich, write this down, remove the word constructive criticism out of all communication and dialogue in your business. I don't know anyone who bounces into a small coaching room or a small office after their manager has said, Yvonne, I want to give you some constructive criticism. Walls go up faster than Berlin, and before you know it, you're getting a defensive person on the other end, not wanting to own any of the feedback because it's really constructive criticism. So if you're a manager listening to this, or you're a manager of a team or a CEO, just remove constructive criticism out of your culture. Instead, use the word feedback. And there's 2 types of feedback. There's useless feedback and useful feedback. Unfortunately, most of the time I hear useless feedback. People walk out of the coaching session going, awesome, I know what I really suck at, and I don't know what to now do with it. That to me is useless feedback. In fact, you're most probably better off not doing any feedback at all. Useful feedback is having them have self-awareness of what are they doing great, and what are 1 or 2 tips for improvement that will move the game forward for them on their next sales call, or if they're face-to-face on their next sales process. That's a whole other topic I could talk about. But let's talk about how you can become employer of choice. So what are you going to do for your employees? If you're full-time, you spend more time with the person standing next to you in the office than your parents or your cat or your partner or your kids. So to become an employer of choice, which as an employer reduces your costs and your attrition rates, start to look at how you can invest in your team. Do an off-site day. Do some after-hours workshop if you're, say, a hair salon where you can't shut down the salon during the day. But spend the time and the effort with your team. Don't assume they know what to do. Don't assume that their previous company or employer has taught them all the things that you want them to do. Look to see how you can add more value to your employees. So they look to you not only for the great working conditions, or the great fashion if they're in fashion retail, or the commissions if they're in sales with commissions, but the fact that you care enough to invest in them. And it doesn't have to be expensive, but start to look at how you can invest in them. Put in a sales training program. Help them develop the skills of how to close, because they'll be feeling it. If they're on a sales call and they're not sure how to close, that's a lot of fear and insecurity that builds up in a salesperson, and they'll go for the easiest way possible to get out of the call, consciously or unconsciously sabotaging that process because they just want to get out of that yucky feeling of not being good enough, or whatever the stuff that's going on for them. So become an employer of choice. Reduce your attrition rates, increase your retention, you'll be recruiting less, you'll be training less for your new recruits, because you'll be gathering and building that amazing skill base and knowledge in your business, which your customers will always notice the difference. You know, when I get called by contact centres, I can tell if I'm talking to an operator on the phone if they've got the skill or don't have the skill, if they know how to build rapport or not. I can hear background noise often, so I can hear what the environment is like behind them. And you know, yes, you could say I'm focusing more on that because I'm a sales consultant and trainer. Guarantee a lot of people are picking that up as well. So it's so easy for you to turn that around instantly. You don't need to, change the entire dynamic of the business. Just start investing in your people more. Become that employer of choice. Build your little flock of people who stay with you, who'll build that customer database up faster because they've got more skin in the game. You know, more and more I'm hearing it from employers. It's costly to be always recruiting, always costly to be doing lots of training. So do something different. Become an employer of choice. You'll get so many benefits from it, not only for you as the business owner or the CEO, but your team, and of course, your customers.